Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. Today, I want us to look at VeChain. We haven't looked at this asset in quite a while, but I do want to keep tabs on it because although I have liquidated my position some time ago, um, I mentioned that I would consider back buying in VeChain if it ever comes back to this level. But for the time being, it's for me, I'm not buying or selling or making any position with VeChain at this time, and I'll show you why. It's the past 3 weeks. In the past 3 weeks, VeChain has corrected against Ethereum about 40, 49, 50%. Okay. And I remember one comment saying like kind of ragging on me on being bearish against VeChain, I guess you could say. And I kind of want to clarify and say, look, I'm not bearish against VeChain. In fact, VeChain against the US dollar, and that was another thing that the commenter was focusing on the US dollar. If you pay attention to if you look at any of my videos, I mainly talk about altcoin ratios, either an Ethereum ratio, like we're talking here about VeChain, or a Bitcoin ratio, like when I talk about Chainlink against Bitcoin. And that I think is the key ratios to look at, right? Because again, when we look at VeChain against the US dollar, VeChain is holding great, and this is actually a very good sign, and kind of what I want to talk about in this video. The US dollar is holding; it's keeping pace somewhat with Bitcoin, to say the least, and is holding at around 20 cents. Um, it could very well come back up to 27 and become range bound. A great example of this is Cardano. Cardano has been holding at $1.30 for weeks. It's been holding it since February of 22nd. So I expect the same thing with VeChain. So if you're concerned about the US dollar valuation of VeChain, you're going to be fine. Even in, say let's compare the VeChain and Ethereum charts. Okay. And you'll see, let's take a look at the last rally of VeChain when in 2020. When it peaked out and it came back down to the accumulation band, the US dollar also kind of tapered off a bit, but not by much. I mean, it was, from top to bottom, it was a 53% correction, but it wasn't like a macro peak drop off, like sell off that we see a lot when altcoins get very, very peaky. In fact, it held quite well, to say the least, and I would argue that VeChain against the US dollar is going to hold fairly well this time around as well. It could drop, 20%. I mean, from 27 to 20 cents is already like a 20% drop, I believe, a 34% drop to sorry to 20 cents. 27 to 20 cents is about a 22% drop to the very bottom wick of 2 weeks ago. We're looking at a 48% drop. So, 13-cent VeChain is fine by me. What's more concerning is the Ethereum ratio, which has dropped considerably for the past 3 weeks. Now, that's in due part with what's happening with Ethereum right now. And everyone who is ragging on me of selling my VeChain back to Ethereum, well, look at the chart. Ethereum will have its day. It mostly comes after a run of Cardano and VeChain. Ethereum comes roaring back and taking back that liquidity. In the meantime, alts like VeChain and Cardano bleed against Ethereum for a duration of time until it comes back in the relative space of the bottom of the chart around here. And this is not the first time it's happening. That's why I keep talking about it. It's happened one, two, three, four, and potentially a fifth time. Okay, we don't know if it's going to come back to the bottom again this cycle, but I would say the odds are pretty good with that bet. So, if you hold VeChain, now is not the time to be selling it back into Ethereum. Yes, Ethereum's moving; it can move up even further, but you'll end up with less Ethereum than you probably started out with. If you bought in this area and if you sold your Ethereum for VeChain in that area, well, guess what? You're going to have less Ethereum coming back into it. I think at this point, one of your better options, and this is not financial advice, but in my opinion, if I was in your situation, I'd probably hold it. I'd hold that position and take it in the gut and try to dollar cost my average my way back in when it reaches back to the bottom. And that's pretty much it. And that's kind of like what I would do with VeChain should I be in that position. If you all must know, my last sell position for VeChain was around this area. So my Ethereum is now outpacing what my VeChain position could have been, which is the whole idea of trading altcoins. To me, VeChain, any kind of altcoin outside of the top 10, is the purpose of those is to just increase my Bitcoin position, increase my Ethereum position, and that's pretty much it. And that's what I use VeChain with. That's why I love VeChain. It really helps you increase your Ethereum position, and alternatively, it can help you increase your VeChain position. If you sold up in the upper bounds of the chart, and you just wait until VeChain comes back here, well, you have, and you use that Ethereum that you now have to buy back into VeChain, you're going to have more VeChain than you started out with, which, if you are a VeChain bull, is good. But in the meantime, folks, this is just how markets work. This is the result of VeChain. This is the relationship VeChain has with Ethereum, whether you like it or not. Might as well just embrace the moves and just and be rational about it. Know that anything above this line is going to be a great selling point for VeChain versus Ethereum. Yeah, I didn't sell it at this point, but I was conservative in my selling, that I still lucked out in the end, or won in the end, whatever you want to call it. You can call it luck. I would just call it being, pragmatic. And I'm not married to, I'm not in love with VeChain. VeChain's a great project, but I'm here to make money. And when you're pragmatic about that, I have no reservations of liquidating my entire VeChain position if I'm selling it back into Ethereum, in which I do believe Ethereum will go up, which it has been for several weeks at this point. But that's all for today, you guys. Fear not. VeChain, there will be a time for VeChain. That time is probably not now, but it could change. Who knows? But this is how my cycles work. They're cycles. They inflate, they deflate, they inflate, they deflate. And when you have a chart as beautiful as VeChain, where you have clear bottoms every single time, it comes frightfully obvious on when the best time to buy VeChain with your Ethereum is. Let this be a lesson. This is the second lesson that's been given on VeChain, or VeChain has taught everyone twice in this cycle alone how to trade this asset. Okay, but that's all for today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye bye.